All right, what's going on? What's going on? You guys, welcome back. This is another episode of City of Savages podcast. As always, I am your host, Greg, and I got my co-host with me, Cam. Cam, what's going on, man?
Yo, what's up, man?
I can't call it, man. You been doing all right?
Excellent. Can't complain.
Good deal. And of course, man, we have the lovely guest with us today, Miss Bonita Bolton. How are you? Thanks for joining.
I'm good. Thanks for having me,
Abs-
everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, listen, I want to introduce our guest the right way. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump right into this thing. We have Bonita Bolton. She is a South Carolina native with a passion for Christ, writing and helping people live a life of purpose. She takes pride in being both transparent and authentic, which is primarily what's garnered the support of her blog readers of her website, which is sheisbonita.com. But Bonita believes in the power of testimony, and she's committed to sharing her story, even if that means just only one person will be encouraged. She is the author of multiple books, both adult and children categories, and received literary recognition, from a variety of sources, and was also awarded the Amazon bestseller recognition for being number one in its category. And this is for her children's book, and that was on the first week it was released. She is also a certified life and success coach. She has coached dozens of individuals looking to launch themselves into the next phase of life. She obtained her undergraduate degree in psychology from Winthrop University and her master's of organization development from Strayer University. And currently, she is a resident of North Carolina and works as vice president in bank operations. So, Miss Bonita Bolton, thank you so much for joining. We're delighted to have you, man, and we appreciate it. How's your week been going?
It's been going good. Tomorrow's Friday,
Yeah,
and
Oh yeah.
I am
absolutely.
very, very happy about that. But I can't complain. It's been good. I'm excited to be here with you guys, and just honored that you thought of me, and looking forward to the discussion.
Nah, absolutely. And we're gonna jump right into this thing. So I'm gonna let Cam go ahead and start with the first question.
Yeah. So, Benita, we always like to just kind of start with the backstory. We know all the things that you do. So just kind of tell us, take us back a little bit and tell us the backstory of, how you got to where you are now.
um, so I'm going to assume where I am now. I mean, like, how did I get to the point where I wrote a book and
Right. Yeah.
started blogging and stuff like that? So
Yeah.
Right.
I've always been a writer. I've always loved to write. Even ever since I was a little girl, whether it was poetry or just like short stories. My real passion is music. So like I
Okay.
would write songs and things like that. So that's just always been something that I've carried with myself for my entire life. Then in college, I had just graduated college. I was in a car accident with my boyfriend at the time, and he did not make it.
Oh,
And obviously, that brought on a lot of grief, a lot of mourning, like a lot of just like inner processing of like
Right.
what,
Right.
like, I was 21 years old at the time. He was my best friend, but he was my boyfriend, and like all these things, and it just happened like immediately. Um, God was gracious enough to spare my life, but I was the only person who made it out of that incident between us and the other vehicle.
Right.
Um, so it was it was a very hard time in my
yeah.
life.
I can't imagine.
Like anything else to say, right? So for a couple years after he passed, I was in this space of just kind of trying to figure out what life looked like again.
Mm.
Right.
And that space, I filled it with a lot of nonsense and like, partying and drinking and things like that. And I'm neither. I've never been either. Like I've never been a big partier. Like I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm sleepy now. I go to bed early. You know what I'm saying? And I've
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
been a person. Um, but just doing what a lot of people do, and you know, try to run away from dealing what you're actually dealing with by filling your stuff. Well, the worst thing I filled it with was a relationship. A very, very toxic person to me. And I, for 3 years after we started dating, you know, I dealt with this relationship of, you know, emotional abuse. He never physically hit me, but he did put me in physically dangerous circumstances and situations. I dealt with, you know, infidelity. I dealt with lying, dealt with manipulation, all the things, right? And the reality was, I was heartbroken before I got into that relationship, which is what set me up to get into that relationship. Because if I was a healthy person, if I was a whole person, if I was a healed person, I would have never been attracted to that individual. I'd have never been attracted to that, you know? And so after I came up from under this, long story short, we ended up getting engaged. I ended up having to break off the engagement, which was, come on, Jesus, best that happened. But it was a process, right? Like emotionally, I went through a lot. And after I did that, I actually relocated to Raleigh. God has a beautiful way of making perfect timing. My job was going through a merger at the time, and I ended up getting a job that I didn't even apply for in a different state. Somebody called me and said, "Hey, you want to come here and do this?" And at first I was like, "Nah, I'm finna move to Atlanta." And I'm in Atlanta, and he was like, "You sound stupid." So anyway, I ended up in Raleigh. And I was really able to kind of sit in everything that I had gone through. And then that kind of started the work. And I went back to that thing that I used to do as a kid, and I started writing. And I made a post on Facebook, and it was just a reflection piece. And the response to it was overwhelming to me, honestly. And you know, people were just like, "Oh my God, like write more, write more." Like, so many women were reaching out to me like I feel like you're telling my story, or just I relate to you in so many ways and things like that. And I tell people all the time, like, my story is my story specifically, but it's not my story. And so many people have been through toxic relationships. And when I say people, I mean men and women, not just women, because I've had men reach out to me about it. I've had men reach out to me on both sides, actually. I've had men reach out and say, like, "Yeah, man, I was dealing with that too." And then I've had men reach out and be like, "Man, you really made me realize that I'm a piece of crap." I saw myself in this dude, right? But I started writing, and then the blog was kind of birthed, and it built its readership, followership. And then all of a sudden people were like, "You need to write a book." And I was like, "Ain't nobody finna do that." And it just kept coming up. And so I ended up writing the book, and the book is entitled "She is Unbroken, a memoir of a formerly brokenhearted girl." And I really just kind of journaled the process of going from heartbreak to wholeness. Because really the story wasn't about him. It was about me from the time my heart was broken and I didn't decide to take control over that piece and heal that piece, and started making all these heartbroken decisions afterwards, which just created more mess. And so many of us do that because it's easier to cover things up. It's easier to use a Band-Aid than to just kind of sit in the pain of whatever the reality is and trying to get past that. And so, that's how the blog was birthed. That's how the book was birthed. And I kind of unofficially started coaching women through this in my DMs and in my in the comment section of my blog and stuff like that. And like women would, if they knew me personally enough to have my cell phone number, they would call me. If they didn't, they would, message me. And I'm sitting here, I've got women that are reaching out to me. They're like, I'm supposed to get married next week and I don't know what to do.
Oh,
wow.
And I will say, I never took responsibility for anybody's decisions about baby girl. You got to make that decision yourself.
Yeah, come on, sis. Come on,
yeah.
But I was just like, man, like I realized I had a passion for this. I had a passion for helping people realize that you don't have to stay where you are.
Right.
And you can turn your pain into purpose. And honestly, if you think of most people that have been successful, or most people who have impactful stories, or even if you think about inventions, inventions are birthed because there's a problem and somebody the problem.
Yep.
So that's how the coaching piece started. I decided, I was like, well, I'm doing this informally. I might as well get certified to do it and do it in a different way.
Okay. So all your entrepreneurial pursuits really kind of just birthed out of the things that you like to do and that you just kind of started doing as a part of your healing process.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that's what's up. So that's a hell of a story. You got a lot, going on there. And I didn't know all that about you. I didn't realize the situation with your boyfriend after college and all of that stuff. So that's sad. And it's amazing that you were able to get through that. So like dealing with that situation, do you feel like you didn't fully heal from it or figure out how to heal from it until after that one toxic relationship?
Yes, in short, I didn't take the time to heal from it. I didn't even take the time to really be hurt. I think back a lot of times when I was kind of in the midst of that season, the accident itself was a really, really high profile accident in Rock Hill, South Carolina. If you know anything about Rock Hill, it's about this big.
Yeah.
Right.
The only thing in Rock Hill is Winthrop, which is alma mater, the Eagles. Right. But my Jordan was a really popular guy in the school, and people knew me. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I was a really popular person, but people knew me.
Yeah.
And so when the accident happened, it was a very big situation.
Okay.
So we weren't technically in college anymore. We had just graduated like the semester before, but we were still very, very connected to the college. So like the vigils for us and or for him, and the night of the hospital, I don't even remember this. But they say like the hospital was overrun with like visitors and things like that. So I immediately kind of went into, you have to be strong mode because there were so many people that were watching.
Right.
And I remember I was talking to somebody. I know who I was talking to, but somebody called me and she called to comfort me. And by the end of the call, she was like, I called to comfort you, but you're comforting me.
Wow.
And I don't say that in a braggadocious way. I actually say that that's not a good thing. Like, you know, I mean, like I really needed to be able to just be vulnerable and be like, yo, this sucks. And like, I don't know what to do. But instead, I just took on this strong facade. And I carried that through everything. And eventually, if you fake it long enough, you'll convince yourself, right?
Right.
So I didn't realize I was as broken as I was. And so I was making decisions from a very unwhole space thinking that I'm just a really strong person that just dealt with a tragedy like that. And that's
Right.
not at all what I was, or what had happened. So it wasn't until after I had dealt with the breakup that I really had to own all of it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think part of me probably didn't even realize the depth of what I was dealing with until I started writing, writing a book, and my blog entries and everything just became really cathartic for me, because I really had to, really, really think about my situation and about everything I was going through. And not only, was it a time of reflection for like all the stuff I'd gone through, it was also a reflection of all the people I had been during that process. Like I had home so many different people. There were times in my last relationship where I was the toxic one.
Okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like that's all stuff that I had to contend with. That's all stuff that I had to sit in. And so yeah, I definitely didn't heal from it until many, many years later.
Okay. Yeah. I got several questions based on all those things that you were talking, but one thing I do want to ask you is, as Greg read your bio, the first thing that you mentioned that comes up about you is, your relationship with God.
Come on.
At what? Love it. So at what point have you always had that type of relationship with God, or did that happen, in your journey of kind of, finding yourself?
I became saved in high school. I accepted the Lord. I didn't really grow up in a family that you had to go to church. We were CME Christians, Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter. But my mom's always been a woman of faith. My grandmother was in church every Sunday. So if I went to Charleston to visit Grammy, we was going to church. All day.
Yeah.
AME child. It was
oh man, yeah.
and they was traditional
African Methodist Episcopal. That was my grandmother. That was my grandmother's church. So I know where you I know where you're coming from right now. I'll just put it that way.
But yeah, so in high school is when I really gave my life to the Lord. And I did like gospel choir in high school. I did the gospel choir in college and things like that. Okay. And, I've always been kind of connected to a church. But ironically, as much as I've always had an understanding that like, there's a Lord, there's a Christ out there who died for me and loves me and, has forgiveness and love for me and grace for me. I've always known that on a kind of surface relational level.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was going through everything that I went through that I got to know him on a deep personal level.
Right.
And, I'll tell you a story. So about a year and a half after the accident, I was at work and I was grieving really, really, really hard. I had like been crying all day and I don't know what was on me, but it was just a spirit of sadness. It was just really weighing me down. And and I left work probably about 3-4 o'clock and I went home and I walked in my apartment and I laid on the floor. I didn't turn anything on. I didn't turn on any lights. I didn't turn on TV. I laid on my living room floor and I cried, like belly wailed, like to the point where like there aren't any tears coming out of my eyes anymore. Just like I was so in grief. And I cried until it was dark in my house.
Wow.
night had fallen. And I didn't realize how much time had passed until like I literally couldn't see around me, because like I said, I hadn't turned anything on.
Right,
and
right.
I went home before 5. So, hours
Right.
had passed. I was just crying. And I said, God, you need to do something now. I audibly said that out of my mouth.
Right.
My phone rang immediately.
Wow.
And I looked at my phone, and this will let you know how fake I could be. So I looked at my phone, and it was my LS, Megan. And love Megan. Obviously she's my LS, but I love Megan. But at that point in time, like Megan and I didn't talk regularly. I probably hadn't talked to Megan for like a year prior.
Oh, wow.
So it was very out of the norm that Megan was calling.
Right.
So I looked at my phone and I was like, I'm not going to answer that. But something was like, you need to answer the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I answered the phone, y'all, and I lied to you not. I cleaned my throat up. I was regular, like, hey, girl, what's up? The first thing that came out of her mouth was, God told me to call you right now.
Wow.
That's crazy, yo. That's crazy, yo.
She didn't say hello. She didn't say how you doing. She said, God told me to call you right now. And I started bawling again.
I would have lost it.
Yeah.
For a very different reason. Like, I've never felt so seen. And to know that this huge God of this big universe is that mindful of me.
Yeah.
Right.
And he knew it had to be Megan. It couldn't have been, one of my best friends or my sister or my mother.
Yeah.
I'd that off. I'd have been like, here go my mama again. She
right.
Yeah.
It had to be somebody that I'd have to be like, oh, this was a response.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's why I don't care what nobody say. Me and Jesus, you know what I'm saying? And I try my very best to operate in that with all I do. I fail often, but I try my very best to operate in that.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
That is amazing. And I'm a believer myself. And just as I was reading your bio previously, and before I say anything, I'm just like, you can easily just feel the presence when you talk, and especially through some of your words, because I have looked through some of your blogs before, and I don't know, I can just tell that there are certain things that that you deliver to people, and through your writing, where you're just being I want to say a shuttle, or something where you're just delivering something from out of your own experience. You know what I mean? Out of your So
Thank you.
yeah, no, and I was definitely going to say as well, Cam, to your point from your previous question, like when you actually moved to Raleigh and you had a chance to, I think you were telling us to kind of settle and just really like just kind of think about things. Was that also like kind of God speaking to you as well? Because you were kind of I think you kind of mentioned you were a little bit apprehensive about going to Raleigh at first. Like you were like, I'm going to move to Atlanta. So do you feel like there was something like a spirit kind of telling you like, nah, this move to Raleigh is what you need. Like this particular area is what you need versus going to Atlanta or something else?
I in hindsight, yeah.
Okay.
In the moment, it was a ticket to go. And like I said, the person that I had talked to, that offered me the job, he's like my mentor and my boss at the time. When he called me, and I was going to Atlanta, because Black people feel like we all feel like if we go to Atlanta, I was them.
Yeah.
He was asking me, he was like, okay, you're gonna go to Atlanta. He was like, do you have a job down there? And I was like, no. He was like, would you have a place to live? no. Why are you asking me all these logical
Right.
questions? Like, just let me do me. Let me live
Yeah.
my. And he was like, okay, well, listen, this is the job. I think you'd be great at it. Here's the salary. Come up, visit me, and see what you think. And honestly, I think it was more so I didn't have no other options.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I had quit my job in South Carolina because I was preparing to move to Texas with the ex because we were supposed to get married.
Oh, okay.
So I was unemployed and I didn't really want to live there anymore. It was just really triggered that area.
Gotcha.
And so, you know, me looking back on it, I was absolutely God, 100%.
Yeah.
But I think in the moment, it just felt like, okay, well, this is the next step. It ain't Atlanta, but you know, I'll be able to make a life up here.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Raleigh's a good area though, because I mean it's growing like crazy, and I mean it's a good place to be.
Yeah, they bring the Apple like the next Apple site's coming up here. So
yeah.
I ain't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, Devin said.
I was gonna say, I was like, you know, one of our good friends actually lives in Raleigh, and that was kind of a topic a couple of months ago in the group chat.
Yeah,
and we were just like, they're bringing so many new jobs to Raleigh because of that. So
yeah.
But I want to talk about your books and being an author real quick. So tell us about the children's book that you wrote, and you know, how did that get started and everything.
So the children's book is actually my heart. This is actually something I've always wanted to do, is write like children's literature.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is entitled "Do You Know Who God Is?" And it's a part of a series. Well, right now it's just one book because I haven't written the rest of it, but it will be a part of the series. And the series is called the Divine Adventures Collection. But in "Do You Know Who God Is?", it's the main character. Her name is Divine. She's a kindergarten age little girl, and she's talking to her Papa D, her grandfather, and she's asking him, like, "Grandpa, do you know who God is?" And he's responding back to her, and the book rhymes, so it's got a cute little rhythm about it. Like, it opens up, "Grandpa, do you know who God is?" And he goes, "Yes, sweetheart, I do." "Well, could you tell me all about him? I want to know him too." And you know, he walks through who God is. He's a creator, he's a father, he's a healer, he's a giver, he's a lover. And it's got like these really amazing pictures from my illustrator, Rodney Johnson. I looked up and down for an illustrator. I fired like 3 people, my father included, because I had a very kind of specific look in mind.
Yeah. You had a certain vision.
Yeah, I had a vision, and Rodney did an outstanding job of carrying that out.
Right.
But yeah, it's I've had a lot of parents that have told me that it's been a great like conversation starter between them and their children. So that's like the biggest compliment that I can get, because it gets kids to say, well, yeah, who is God? So the next installment of the series will be, "Do you know who Jesus is?" But
okay.
So listen, I gotta first of all, congratulations on writing it, first of all. And then congratulations on being awarded. As we, you know, I previously said it, but we need to just put it out there again so everybody can hear, on being the #1 seller for the first week on Amazon. And I want to in this category. Yeah.
It was short-lived, but I made it there. So that's
hey, you made it. It's an accomplishment. No matter if it was 1 week, 2 weeks, it don't matter.
But I just want to speak on from the perspective of being a parent. My 5 and 7-year-old, I got 2 boys right now, and they are so like I said, me and my wife, we're believers, and we keep them in the church. And it's crazy now because they're at that age where they ask so many questions. yo, I'm just like, oh my gosh, bro, like, can you just go sit down somewhere and just stop asking me stuff? Like, but you can't say that as a parent, you know
Right.
what I mean? Like, you gotta respond. And we are parents that truly believe like that we talk to our kids like they are can understand. Like, we don't do that
Mhm.
baby talk, we don't do that, and we tell them like, who God is. And but they still ask questions. And I actually got this question yesterday. He was like, how long ago was God born? He was like, was that infinity years or something like that? So it just, when you talk about your book and you talk about that, it's just like, one, I need to go ahead and purchase that as soon as we get off this meeting today. But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking forward to it. But it's so true that kids are inquisitive like that.
Mhm.
Especially if you tell them about God, you tell them about Jesus, they want to know. You know what I mean? They have all these questions. So I'm looking forward to the next series for sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Husband and I have a 7-year-old, and it blows my mind the stuff that she comes up with as far
Yeah.
as questions and stuff like that. I'm just like, well, hold on, let me think about it.
Yeah.
I
No,
know,
because
right?
you have to like, wait a minute, let me answer this
Yeah.
the right way. And then you're kind of careful because you want to make sure that you answer and you don't like, tell them something that's wrong, but then you don't like want to open the wrong can of worms too. You know what I
Come
Yeah,
on.
mean?
exactly.
They're gonna
I don't
have
need
even more
You don't want,
questions.
yeah, you don't want to create more questions.
Exactly.
How can I answer this without creating a slew of
Right.
other
I'm
questions?
just I'm just being transparent here. So
Facts. And yeah, G, you need to get that book though. I'll vouch for it because I bought that book a while back and it's great. My daughter loves it, so still loves it. So
I
yeah,
still
it's
have
awesome.
the picture that you sent of her
Oh
reading
yeah.
yours.
I think that was like what 3 when you dropped it like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think I dropped that book 2016.
Yeah, dang. So it's been 5 years ago. That's crazy. Yeah, time
Great.
flies.
that's
Oh
wild.
yeah, but yeah, it's a great book, and the illustrations are great. So shout out to the illustrator for sure. That's awesome.
Super
So
dope. He's a Black illustrator and an animator, and he teaches animation at like the Georgia Institute of Art or something like that. So
okay,
Okay.
really,
nice.
That's what's up, man.
So on I'm curious on the business side of things. How does it work with the illustrator as far as like rights to the book? How do you pay the illustrator? Do they get it like they get a piece of the profit, or do you pay it all up front fee? How does that work?
I pay him for his contracted work.
Okay,
So he doesn't get any like residual royalties or anything like that because
okay,
it's my creation. Even to the extent of like I kind of told him exactly what I like. This is what I want the scenes to look like. I gave him
okay.
creative to do his thing, but
Yeah,
yeah, from like an ownership perspective, he doesn't
you don't
own.
have any. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All right, that's good.
that's a great question though.
Yeah. I was just curious. I didn't know how that works with the with the books, but that's good. All right.
Yeah,
Good deal,
so
good deal.
essentially, he paid as a contractor.
Right. Okay. That makes
Mhm.
a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. So that was 2016. You wrote your adult book after that, right?
2017, I believe. I think I
Okay.
released it. In
Now, in that book, your audience are you talking to other women in that book?
prior, yes. Generally, the audience for that book is going to be women around the age of like 26 to 35.
Okay.
Um, particularly single.
Mm,
Particularly having had been through a bad relationship,
gotcha.
which unfortunately is a really large demographic.
Oh yeah, of
Um,
course.
but yeah, but that's probably the specific target.
Okay.
Okay.
Of course, I mean, I would like to think as the writer that many people could get something from it, but that is my
Yeah.
specific target.
Absolutely.
No, that makes sense. And you know, I think it's good to have a specific target. I
Mhm.
listen so I listened to Tim Ferriss. I've read, his book 4 Hour Work Week and all that. And one thing that he talks about one thing he talked about on his podcast one time was when he was writing that book. He had like many versions of it before the one that came out. And he said the reason that book, he feels like the reason that book was so went, did so well was because when he wrote it, he was thinking about his friend. Like he was talking to his friend when he wrote it. You know what I'm saying? So like that's the way that he had his mindset, or was thinking about who am I talking to with this? He wasn't talking, he said initially he was writing it like to a broad audience, and he said it didn't work, like he read it and he didn't like it. He had some other people read it, the feedback wasn't good. And he said once he changed that audience to like, I'm talking to my friend, then that's when it clicked, and it did well.
One of my offerings as a coach is self-publishing coaching. A lot of people that, say, I want to write a book, I want to self-publish, can you help me? And one of the things that I try to really, really put in everybody's head is that if you're writing for everybody, then you're writing for nobody.
Right.
Right.
And it's something I learned early on, and you're absolutely right. When I think about who I was writing to the 25-year-old version of me that needed to hear those words. You know what I'm saying? But if you write to a specific person, like he said, or to a specific group, then other people can look at it and say, oh, I can get something from that too.
Right.
Yep. That's true.
But if you just like, oh, this is for everybody, that really isn't. What is that?
Right.
Like, even for me as a person who thinks about a product and like, everybody can use this. It's like, okay. but you're not really selling the value of it to me. So that's absolutely true.
Yeah, definitely. And I noticed that with a lot of blogs too, they'll specifically, like, so even if you look at something like the Shade Room, right? They always they'll say something like, hey sis, or something like they talking to a person, not like they talking to, hello everyone. It's like it's like they targeting a certain audience, and you can feel that. But even though they targeting out, like you said, other people can still look at it and be like, oh, I can, this is interesting to me, or they can get something from it.
Yeah. I mean, think about what companies out there like sell to everybody. I mean, unless you Google, you're probably not going to be able to do that. But there are enough people that, there are enough people in that demographic that I said 26 to 34 that, even if I said Black specifically that have been hurt, there's still enough of those in the world to get me on the national New York Times bestseller, right?
Exactly.
So I shouldn't worry about all 7 billion people on the planet. I should worry about that specific population that I can help.
Yep. Gotcha. Yeah, exactly. That's good.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, Ken, was you about to say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, you had brought up, being a certified life coach. And I was just curious, like, what is that process like? Because I know that, you were able to, talk about how, opening up and just being able to just be a voice for so many different women out there that just felt like, even though your story wasn't their specific story, you were still telling their story. You know what I mean? So what prompted like you saying that, okay, I want to become certified? So what was that process like to become certified life coach and success coach?
I think that and my husband says this all the time, I think that I got certified to validate myself that I was that what I had to say was impactful and useful and could help other people. Because he'd be like, people are already telling you that it's impactful and useful by calling and asking for your help, right?
Right.
To a certain degree, I was like, well, I at least need to have certification if I'm gonna charge you for this, right? So really it's not a difficult process at all. Like you just find an ICF accredited coaching program and do the coaching courses. The course I did was actually pretty long, in my opinion. It was like 8 months.
Oh wow.
And, and it's like a a class a week, and then you have like group studies and stuff that you have to do, and work that you have to turn in. I'm going through the
Right.
process of ICF certified. So there are two different things. Coaching is a fairly new practice or
Mhm.
study. And so it's not heavily licensed or governed. So like, you know, think about psychologists, they've got all these boards that
Right.
govern as a business. So I can't just go into a building and say I'm a
I'm a
psychologist.
Right. Right.
Where I could go into any place and say I'm a life coach without any type of certification.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
However, the ICF is a governing body, and they are the ones that, for anybody who understands what coaching is and respects it, even from an executive coach perspective, like if you go into businesses and offer coaching,
Right.
you're looking for that person to be ICF because that gives some validation to it.
Okay.
But yeah, the process was not difficult. The ICF certification process is pretty difficult. Like I have to log, I can't remember, it's like 120 hours or something like that of coaching.
Okay.
And take tests and things like that.
Okay. And so once you go through that course, however long it is for the ICF, once you go through that course, do you have to do any type of like something that's annual to recertify, or is it like kind of permanent for you?
Like continuing education?
Yeah.
It's actually a great question that I don't fully know the answer to because I'm still going through the process. But as far as I know, no. Again, just because it's not a heavily like governed
Right.
industry right now. I do expect that that's going to change very quickly because a lot of people are starting to understand the value of life coaching.
Absolutely.
And, you know, mental health has taken such a front and center spot recently, which I think is great. And people are getting a lot more open, especially us being Black people, about, you know, what our mental health means and the fact that, you know, getting help is a strength, not a weakness.
Right.
And you know, I tell people all the time, like I have a counselor and I have a coach. Because they're two different methodologies and how they're implemented, they're not the same thing, but they're both so valuable. So I have full expectation that coaching will take on wings over the course of the next like 10 years.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And you know, I think a lot of time, well, performance coaching is kind of been a thing for a while, right? So like people who are in certain types of jobs, like entrepreneurs, salespeople, you know, like real estate agents, a lot of the really successful ones, they have coaches in their field, right? They have like performance coaches. So I think that's been a thing that's been around for a while, but kind of on the life coaching side, I think that's where, like you were saying, thing is really becoming new. And because of the environment that we're in now, I agree with you. I think that it's really going to start, especially on that side of it, probably start getting regulated because you got so many, especially with social media, you know, you got so many people that want to kind of get into it now, and it could get it could be really good. It could be a good thing, but it can also get really ugly if there's not some type of you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I guess regulation or regulation on it. Yeah, because you don't want the Instagram fakers to start taking over and, and pretending to get that money.
Right. You don't want those PPP certified life people. So
yeah,
that's immediately what I'm thinking about. I'm like, nah, bro. I don't know. So, but that's a good point.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get certified so bad. I was like, I can't.
It's a good validation. You know, kind of validates you.
Like,
yeah. So
you know, I think that it's important for that. So go ahead, Ken.
Absolutely. So, Bonita, you know, your blog is titled "She is Bonita," and obviously that's your name. But to me, it feels like there's a deeper meaning behind that. Is that true? What would you say, and what does that mean? And if so,
Andra, you know what I'm saying? No, I think it obviously, yeah, it's who I am, but of course, Bonita in Spanish means beautiful. And I think that it's just kind of a representation of just like not necessarily who I am physically, but just like my ability to, well, let me not take the credit, God's ability to make, you know, something beautiful out of some messes, that some that fell on me and some that I created, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
But even still, I'm still here. I I named my book "She Is Unbroken," um, very intentionally. And there is a Japanese art form, and I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the name of it, but there's this Japanese kind of like artistry where when people break things in their homes, like their china, not things, but their china. Say you have a tea glass, if it's broken in our culture, it's trash, right?
right.
Right.
Yeah,
In their culture, they fix it, but with gold. And so now this broken thing, it becomes more valuable than it
yeah,
was before it was broken.
yeah,
And just the concept of she is unbroken is just that concept that now, like, I'm so much more valuable in the kingdom now that I've been through everything that I've been through, because I can use my testimony to help somebody else get
right,
through it or avoid it. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And just understanding that my value isn't lessened because I've been
Right.
through these. But it's just an indication that, you know, God loved me so much and saw so fit to bring me out of it.
yeah, yeah,
So
That's good, man. I like that. I like the way that you broke that down. Um, you know, talking about Japanese culture, but then comparing it, like, I don't know. I thought that was a good way to get people to kind of really understand, you know, where you're coming from and your thought process behind the title and everything that you have with that. So
yeah,
dope.
absolutely. So, Benita, what advice would you give to anybody that's looking to write their own book, self-publish and that type of thing?
do it. I at the risk of sounding like simple and basic, honestly, that is the number one thing. Every time I have somebody who reaches out and says, I want to write a book and, you know, I've got a story to tell, most of them have not written one word.
Yeah.
And I just, newsflash, in order to write a book, you got to
You
put
gotta
pen
write.
to paper. You got
Yeah.
to
Right.
write, right? And like,
Yeah.
we get so bogged down in all these things, like what's the title gonna be, what's the cover gonna look like, and what's my marketing
Right.
be, and
Right.
all. And yes, every single bit of that is important, but it does not matter if you do not have a book.
Right.
So my recommendation is that you write, and there's no prescriptive way to write. You can do it with an outline or not. You can, you know, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, or, you know, you're writing a fantasy, or you're writing your own personal memoir, just get it started, get the stuff
Yeah.
that's out of your head. I do coach on ways to get like around writer's block, because that's a myth. Writer's block isn't really a thing.
Mhm.
So there are tactics that you can use to write faster, be more productive.
Yeah.
But your first step is to start writing,
Yeah.
and we can figure out all the business on the back end.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Not to mention, if you write your book correctly, you write it well. I think you mentioned in with the author just you were saying earlier, the first draft of your book will not be what sells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of, like, my children's book, the memoir, they're like the fourth or fifth version of what I wrote that got put out to the public.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, it doesn't have to be beautiful in the first draft.
Yeah.
Chances are it's gonna be. It might just be okay.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Because you'll have time to readjust, to edit, to think through the concepts. Like my book actually got like there are chapters that are just like out of in different places, and mine was actually fairly simple to write because I was writing the story of my life. So it was literally on a timeline. So I just had to remember the sequence of events, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, pen to paper, start writing.
Okay. So yeah, definitely. That's great advice. So now say I put my pen to paper, I've written my book, I've looked over it, second draft, third draft, I feel like I'm done, I'm ready to put this out to the world. What's next in order to get it published?
You need to get a professional editor to look through your book. Now you have to also understand what editing is. Editing is not proofreading. You need to get an editor that is going to be able to look at it and read it for syntax, somebody that's able to read it for, full concept and be able to say, you didn't connect this theme with this theme. You left me, like somebody that can really, really dissect the book. And that's when you're going to start your fourth revision. Generally, your editors are also going to proofread. Proofreading is just saying you forgot your period here. You need to capitalize this. But your editor is one of the most important things you're gonna pay for, because they are really, really good at helping you identify your own holes and your own gaps. I actually did study groups too, or not study groups, focus groups. So I would send chapters to look out to people that some that knew me, some that didn't. And give me your opinion, let me know what happened here. I lose you at any place, because if we don't connect the story, then it's pointless. So I would suggest all those things.
Okay. That's good, man.
Yeah, that's great. All right.
Yeah, I'm over here taking notes myself. You know what I mean? Like for you listeners out there, please pay attention, because Bonita's dropping some knowledge right now on what you need to do. So, and I know we got some inspiring writers out there.
Yeah. I'm taking notes for when I have an interesting enough life, I'll write my own book.
You see, you missed what I just said. I said everybody has got a story in them.
That's true. Yeah. I'm just messing around, but yeah. One day, I don't know. I'll get I'll do my thing one day.
I'm a book enthusiast, so I'm here for all the authors.
All right, that's what's up.
So, Bonita, I do want to ask you, what inspires you?
I think it changes with the seasons. Right now, my husband, our daughter, and I have a very familial focused right now.
Okay.
And so that inspires me. Obviously, I love to see my people winning. So I am pretty heavy into like Instagram and stuff like that, but I try to be very intentional about the content that I take in and like the people I follow and things like that, and try to make sure, I don't know if you know Yvonne Orji, but like I follow the Yvonne Orjis of the world, the Sarah Jakes Roberts of the world, the Jackie Hill Perrys of the world, and I love to see Black women and Black men winning. And that inspires me. I get inspired by people who are just bold enough to think they can do something and they just go out and do it.
Yeah.
And and they make things happen. And so, yeah, I guess I draw inspiration from a lot of different places, but those are probably my main sources. I got a real tight circle of friends, and they are like my anchors. And sometimes I look at that group of women and I'm like, whew, there's nothing. Y'all could run the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that inspires me.
All right.
You know what?
That's awesome.
I tip my hat. I tip my hat to you for a number of reasons, but specifically something that you said as far as social media, and I think Cam touched on it earlier too. It's about content that you take in. You really have to be conscious about the negativity that's out there, or just different things. You know that if you are constantly consuming it, even if you are a strong-willed person, or you have a strong mental, constant consumption of the wrong thing will take over you subconsciously and you won't even realize it. So you just have to be, cognizant of that and just not take in, the wrong thing. Shout out to Yvonne Orji though. I follow her. Shout out to Issa Rae. Shout out to Insecure.
Yeah.
Shout out to Everybody Black, because I'm rooting for them too.
Everybody.
But shout out to Yvonne Orji. I think she actually just dropped a book. Who I plan on purchasing that for the Mrs. Hopefully I can get that before she sees this, because her birthday is coming up soon. But
Okay.
just man, I totally that resonates with me, because the older you get, it's just very important. And even some of these younger folks, man, some of our younger listeners, be conscious of what you are putting into your mind and what you're looking at every day. Take a break from social. I can be completely transparent. I can be a lot better, but something I do every Sunday when my phone tells me your screen time, even though I'm a creator, it's kind of hard to take a break away from that whenever we're having to do certain things. But I do, man. I take certain breaks, and I tell I have an alarm on my phone, like, put your phone down so that you can just give your mind a break. You know what I mean? So I think that's a good point that you brought up, Anita, and even you, Cam. You know what I'm saying? Just got to be conscious of those things.
Facts. So, Bonita, what's next for you?
Well, like I said, the Divine Adventure is supposed to be a whole series. So, hopefully I'll be able to finish. You know what? Not hopefully. I'm going to finish my series. I'm going to release at least the second edition of that series.
Have you started writing it yet?
I actually have. I've actually started writing like 12 times, and I just haven't like any of the things that I've come up with. So I don't know if it's because what I've written is truly not good, or if it's me being my own worst critic. So I might have to pull some of those old things out and let other people read and give me their perspective on it. But I'm light years away from where I was even when I wrote the memoir. I'm married now, and family. We're growing a family, so it's been interesting, even transitioning from being the single woman that wrote that book and that lived a very, I mean, I guess I had a fairly interesting single life, so I did a lot of traveling. I did a lot of stuff with friends or whatever, to being the married woman that I am today. And there were a lot of transitions in that too, right? I learned a lot in that. I realized very quickly that the healing that I did was, while it was good, I was healing myself to be single. I wasn't healing myself to be in a relationship again. So that came with its own set of problems or challenges for me and my now husband. So who knows, I might put pen to paper on that and reflect through what that trans looks like, especially in this culture of like us super strong Black women that don't need no man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever been that militant about it, but I do think that there was a kind of a concept of like, I mean, I could be single and it's fine. And you don't realize how when you get with a man and you're not single anymore, how that mindset can be negative
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the relationship, right? If you have a habit of letting him know that you don't need him or he ain't got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be something I want to talk about next, but I'm still working through it too. So
Okay.
I ain't ready to write.
Listen, if you write that, I'm gonna definitely read it. And hey, so I'm glad you said that though, seriously, because that's something Greg and I have had a conversation about that before. And women don't beat us up here, but I think that in my being single and stuff like that, you come across women who, there's been times where I've been like, I'm super single and I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't care about a relationship. But there's been times when I'm like looking for a relationship. You looking for that and you come across a woman who does, who's overly independent. It can be it can be detrimental to what you two may be trying to build together. You know what I mean? So it's interesting that you said. I think that's something that we could definitely have a whole other conversation about.
Because what you said is fair. I think that a lot of men just don't understand that a lot of times that response is a trauma response though. Like I was forced into being overly independent because the time that I was depending on somebody, they let me down so bad. So you get into this point where it's just like, well, shoot, I ain't got to deal with that. I don't need that no way. Like, and so it's very, I'm gonna take care of me regardless type of mentality, which isn't necessarily a bad thing when it's checked. But when it's unchecked, because I agree, a woman does need to be able to know that if all else fails, she got herself, right? And
of course.
I can take care of me. But sometimes you just got to check that at the door, especially if you have someone saying, but I'm telling you, you don't have to do it by yourself. Like I'm here to help you. So a lot of times it's a trauma response, and let's be real, a lot of times it's a trauma response as a result of what men have done
happened in the past. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
And to your point, I think it's important for men not to react a certain way and to understand that. It's important to know where your potential partner or significant other, spouse, whatever, relationship, even if it hasn't started yet, to kind of know the background of where she's come from or what she's been through. You know what I mean? Because that'll allow you to have some grace about yourself, and you won't respond negatively, because it's a defense mechanism. It's to your point, it's a trauma response. It's not like, hey, I don't like you, I don't see a potential for where it's going, but listen, experience has shown me that this could go south real quick. I don't know you like that, so trust is built over time. And so being able to understand where she comes from, it allows you to be like, you know what, I need to move gracefully with this woman, I need to be more understanding, and perhaps we can move past this, but I need to I need to just kind of be more understanding of her past or what have you. So, and that's male and female, you know what I'm saying? It's not just for women, it's for men too, because a lot of times, guys, we don't realize it, but sometimes we shut down, that's a trauma response for us.
Exactly.
Or you know what I mean, or the way that we respond is a trauma response for us. If we might just either we shut down or we react quickly and negatively without actually thinking. So
sometimes we over masculine as
exactly. But listen,
as Black people, we just got to do a better job of loving each other.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
just,
that's facts.
we just, and I say this out of a place of still learning. Like,
Oh,
Right.
I think we all still
yeah,
learning.
Facts.
I'm still learning how to love my husband better.
Mm,
Yep.
Um, and that's not something that I'm not gonna get into a whole nother thing, because this could be as
yeah.
as a community, that's something that we have been robbed of in a lot of different ways.
Yes.
Historically, currently, from slavery. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and we gotta love each other better.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was gonna say that goes back years, like centuries. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
we just have to be more patient with each other. That's where, like, I really feel like the healing starts. Um so but Bonita, like, we here at City of Savages, we do something that we call, we give all of our guests their flowers. And by that, what we mean is just, it's our way of showing recognition for everything that, that we see you. This is the reason that we have you on, and we just want to say thank you. Like, it's really a pleasure for us to have you on today. But
Yeah.
just getting to know you, this is, I feel like, honestly, I know that have known Cam previously, but this is really like my first introduction to you. But I just want to say that even though this is our first official introduction, I am still inspired by you. Like, as as a Black man, as a man in general, like, it doesn't matter what my ethnic background is. I'm sure you inspire other men too, and especially women. But from all demographics, it doesn't matter. Just thank you for your vulnerability, like your
Mm,
transparency. I
yeah.
know that you talk about, just being strong and um, using your strength to tell your story, but not just your strength, but just being a vessel. That was the word I was looking for earlier. I was like, there
Mm,
was a word I was looking for, but being a vessel, for God, and just using your talent too. You know what I mean? I know
yeah.
that you gave, you gave God the credit, and rightfully so, but you still have that talent within you, and you use your talent to speak your story, and you are providing healing for so many people. You're telling so many other people's story. So just thank you for your vulnerability, your transparency, and your gift that you're giving everyone. You know what I mean? We just got to give you your flowers and thank you, for your books. Thank you for
Yeah.
the next thing that you're doing. I can't wait to, like, literally. I'm an Amazon Prime member, so I'm gonna go ahead and shoot that over to myself as soon as we end this. But we just want to give you your flowers. And Cam, go ahead, man. I know you want to piggyback.
Yeah, man. You said it well, Greg. Benita, we appreciate everything that you do. I know that you've inspired so many men and women through your story, your journey, your
Yep,
writings, and I just want to encourage you to keep doing your thing and just keep inspiring people. And yeah, we definitely want to give you your flowers because I mean, everything that you're doing is awesome, and just being a vessel for God and through your writing, just telling your story, using your story to help other people. So we
yep,
appreciate you.
yep,
Thank you guys so much. That's so appreciated. And likewise, back to y'all. Thank y'all for City of Savages, for the podcast, and for
Right.
thinking of me, and for all of the other guests that you've had. I was able to go back and listen to some of the other episodes that y'all have.
Good.
And it's, dope that you guys are out here doing this, praying that it blows your mind with the reach and um, what it does and how it expands and how God uses it. So
Awesome.
I'm glad to say that I'll be able to one day say, yeah, I was on that show. My name is
Oh yeah, for sure. We
appreciate
appreciate
that.
that. We definitely appreciate that. So before we got out of here, we like to do a segment what we call the Fab Five. So we're gonna do it's five kind of quick questions that we like to ask to for us and the audience to get to know you better. It's like our lightning round. So I'm gonna let Greg start off with question number one.
these things always make me nervous. I don't
Good. Don't be freaked out. But we do like to hit you between the eyes real quick. So I'm gonna just be honest with you. So now, question number one: what's the last song you listened to?
Last song I listened to, Human Nature from Jackson.
You and my kids will get along just fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that song
Yeah.
is a national treasure, and every remix that has ever been made with that beat, I love it. I don't care what they say; they can sing the alphabet over it, and I'm gonna love it. But yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah,
All right, question number 2. Oh, go ahead, Greg.
SWV one is my favorite remix, though.
Man, yes, I'm gonna listen to that one. I get off here.
I was about to say the same thing. Now I'm about to go listen to that. All right, question number 2. Besides yourself, who's your favorite author?
Who is my favorite author? I'm gonna have to be cheesy here. My husband actually wrote a book too, so
okay,
it's him.
What's the book?
He wrote a book for his daughter. It's called Baby Cherish, and she's a superhero.
Okay, that's dope.
That was actually one of the things that connected us when we first started dating. We were like, wait, children's books? That's not. You don't just randomly run into people who randomly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's what's up. That's what's up. IG. Greg, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so we did question number 2. So question number 3: what's something that you learned or picked up during the pandemic?
Learned or picked up during the pandemic, being still. I am a person that does 100 different things at one time, and I run full speed on everything. And then the pandemic came in and it shut all that stuff down. And for like a good minute in the pandemic, I was like, I didn't even know who I was. I was like, well, if I can't run 12 different projects, who am I?
Right.
I learned the value of being still, and the fact that rest is it's a necessity.
Yeah. So important.
And, my pastor actually says all the time, rest is it's an order. The commandment says, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. That's not a suggestion, it's a command. And so I learned rest.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can relate. I'm a person that's doing 100 million things at once. And I don't know, I get one idea and it sparks another one and I'm doing 10 different things. Can't help it. It's crazy. All right. So question number 4, what's something that most people don't know about you?
What's something that most people don't know about me? Like I said, music's probably my first love. And I've had the opportunity to do some cool things with music. I used to record drops for Power 98 in Charlotte.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And I've sung backup at a John B concert before.
Oh man, that's
really?
What's up.
Wait, how long ago was that?
I mean, he wasn't famous no more, but
hey, hold on. John B always
John
famous.
B is forever famous. I was just about to say that. Like, wait a minute.
Hey, he's a one-hit wonder, he's like the legend of all one-hit wonders, yo.
You can be modest all you want, but I still have John B on my playlist right now. I have this smooth R&B playlist, and he is on it. Like both songs. Are You Still Down? And y'all know the other one. Y'all know the other one.
You don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. And what's the one with him and Babyface?
I don't know if I know that one.
but that one too.
I
Um,
know.
All right, so that make him he a 3-hit wonder then.
yeah. But,
Nah.
yeah, this I actually did it. It was in Noda in Charlotte. Um, it was probably circa 2006, 2007.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's what's up.
So,
So you still singing? You
yeah.
do anything on the choir or something like that?
I used to lead praise and worship at church, and then
Okay.
The world shut down.
Right.
So I'll probably get back to that eventually when I go back to church physically. But
Okay.
that's about it.
That's what's up.
Cool.
I sing for myself now.
Shower concert.
Hey, there
You know,
go.
and I
Shower
goes in.
concerts.
Yeah. All right, last question. What is a goal on your bucket list that you wish to accomplish before this year's over?
Oh. A goal on my bucket list that I'd like to accomplish before this year's over. I'd like to have a baby.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's a good goal.
Yep.
That's what's up. All right. Well, hey, we will pray for you that that you accomplish that.
For
You know,
sure.
you're getting pregnant before this year's up.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I'm already pregnant, but
Oh wow!
Well,
Congratulations.
all right. Well, congrats.
Yeah.
Y'all heard it first here, exclusive.
We got an
on City of
exclusive.
Savages. That's what's up, yo. What? Congratulations,
Yeah.
y'all. That's dope.
thank
So now I gotta ask the obligatory question, right? How far along are you?
15 weeks.
Okay.
I just walked into my second trimester recently.
All right.
So we don't know if it's a boy or girl yet.
Do y'all want to know, or you gonna let it surprise you?
No, I want to know. I don't have a preference though.
Okay.
So everybody is asking like, why didn't you find out early? It's just like, I'm not paying extra for that.
Hey,
That's
I'm with you.
most people don't know about me. I'm cheap.
Hey, that's a good thing.
I'm here for it, man. Congratulations, man. That's dope.
Super dope. Super dope. All right. Well, hey, Bonita, we definitely appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure. You know, you dropped some good stuff for us, and it's been super interesting. Like just hearing your story, getting to know you a little bit better. So we're gonna let you go, but before we do, tell the people, you know, all how they can get in touch with you, and you know, your website, socials, all this stuff.
Yep.
Okay. I try to keep it pretty clean across. It's pretty much She is Bonita for everything. So my website, if you want to look at my blog, and I think I've got all of my old blog entries in there. It's a good way to understand what's going on in the book. My suggestion would be to start at the bottom and read up, because like I said, it's chronologically. If you're interested in coaching, or from a life perspective, or you're just wanting some help getting self-published, then you can also go on my website and you can see like the rates and things like that, and you can book through there. And that's just www.sheisbonita, SHEISBONITA.com. And my Instagram is at she_is_Bonita. And then my Twitter, which don't follow that because I don't really tweet, is Bonita as well.
Okay.
But yeah, primarily I do everything from a social perspective on Instagram.
Okay.
Ooh.
Good deal. Yeah, I know you got all your stuff on your link tree, in your Instagram as well. All right, good deal. So before you go, we have all of our guests drop a final gem. So the final gem is something that you can leave the audience with, that is gonna touch somebody, change their life. One thing. What would you leave us with?
I think I would just encourage everybody and remind everybody that, you know, what you do makes a difference. And a lot of times that we don't feel that. We feel the world's so big, and sometimes we can feel so small in it.
Mhm.
But what you do makes a difference. But you got to take that another step. You've got to figure out what kind of difference you want to make.
Right.
So whether you are pouring out goodness into the world, you're sowing good seeds, or you're sowing bad, either way, it's going to make a difference. But you got to figure out what impact you want to leave on the world, and then work backwards from there.
Love it. All right,
So
that's
dope,
what's up.
man.
That's
Thank
what's
you.
up.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
dropping gems.
Yeah. IG, take us on out.
Well, listen, you guys have tuned in for another episode of City of Savages. Again, my name is Greg, and of course, you got my co-host Cam, and we
Yep.
had on the lovely Bonita today. Thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure to have you, as Cam said. You guys tune in to the episode when we drop, and as always, much love. Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you all.